Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, we have so much, and I mean so much good news to talk about that impacts the nation. And after the years of losing, after the 2025 season, I don't know about y'all, when I hear good news and it's connected to the Raiders, I want to know about it. If you feel the exact same way, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I do feel this way, that 2026 is already our year. We're already moving in the right direction. And during the season, there's a lot of lows, no doubt about it. In fact, one of the things that drives me the most nuts is when people go, oh, that Mitchell Renz guy, the Raiders Report, it's too negative. I'm a realist, and if the season's bad, I'm going to tell you my opinion. But I do think that we are moving in the right direction, and I'm excited to be able to share the good news with y'all today. So, obviously, the Raiders, they're expected to hire Clint Kubiak to be the next head coach. This news ended up breaking on Sunday. Reed and I came into the studio, 4 hours live show, partied it up with Raider Nation. We were really excited. Obviously, the deal cannot be official until after the Super Bowl. So where's the good news in this, you might be asking yourself. The good news is this. If you've been paying attention to anything, and I mean anything, coming out from Super Bowl, we have the Chat Sports team there. Chugs and I are actually getting ready to join those guys on Thursday, which I'm hyped about. But there's been so much information about Clint Kubiak going to the Las Vegas Raiders, and I was much more nervous on Sunday because of the way the whole Cliff Kingsbury thing ended up going down. But Clint Kubiak and Cliff Kingsbury, I think, are much, much different human beings. On top of that, you got to listen to what people say at Media Row. And if you did not hear what Seahawks general manager John Schneider had to say about Clint, it's just one of those things, again, where it's like, all right, that checks it off the box that he is going to be the official head coach here for this team. So Monday at the Super Bowl, Seahawks GM Schneider basically confirmed the news. He said Kubiak to the Raiders, and he jokingly said it like, yeah, officially official. He also said, obviously, we see Clint's going to the Raiders now. That means that there's already been conversations with Clint. There's already been conversations with the Seahawks. And if there's already conversations with the GM, the next two things that I would wonder are, well, what about the head coach? What does he have to say? Luckily, Mike McDonald also chimed in on what he thought about Clint Kubiak going to the Las Vegas Raiders and essentially said that it was bittersweet. And I can understand the head coach saying that, right? Mike McDonald is a defensive-minded head coach. So he was allowing Clint Kubiak to be the offensive coordinator, to be the head coach on the offensive side of the football. Let him really handle that side of the biz. And you're looking at that roster that they have, and they're going, well, we're in the Super Bowl for a reason. The other thing that I loved is Kubiak's not answering any questions around the Raiders. Like, I've seen so many videos pop up of fans being like, hey, Clint this, hey, Clint that, and he's just dodging it, and he's keeping it professional because Clint Kubiak is a football guy, and all he is saying is, all I care about is the Seahawks and winning a Super Bowl. That's what you want in a coach. Here's, though, the one that I really got excited about because, obviously, you expect the GM to say that. Obviously, you expect the Seahawks head coach to say that. But Tom Brady said something, and when he said it, I was like, all right, it's definitely going to end up going down. So Tom Brady was asked who he was going to pick to win Super Bowl 60. And Brady essentially said that he doesn't care who wins. I just find that hard to believe because obviously Brady's the greatest Patriot ever. The dude literally has a statue out front of Foxborough. He made his almost entire career there, won 6 freaking Super Bowls, and Tom Brady, let's face the facts, I get he's the owner of the Raiders. But when people ask about Tom Brady, I don't think that they think of the Raiders. I don't think that they think of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think you think of the New England Patriots. So for Tom Brady to say, I'm not rooting for New England, I really think the only reason why he's saying that is because he knows that the Raiders are going to hire Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak to be the next head coach. And he doesn't want to root against the guy that he knows is going to be on his team and basically a week from now. So hearing what you heard from Schneider, from what you heard from the Seahawks head coach, hearing from what you did from Tom Brady, what's your confidence level now? Because I know I asked this question back on Sunday, and my answer has totally changed. Scale it from 1 to 10. 1, you're not confident at all. 10, you know for a fact Clint Kubiak's going to be the next head coach of the Raiders. I was a 5 on Sunday. I'm a 9 now. And the only reason why I'm saying I'm 9 right now is because it's not officially official. And until I get that notification that says, hey, Clint Kubiak has signed the dotted line, there's a lot of things that can happen. But I do really, really believe in my heart of hearts that Clint Kubiak will be the next head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. So coming up here next on the show, we actually have even more good news to be able to talk about. And if you want the Raiders to spend some money in free agency, if you want the Raiders to be aggressive this offseason, this news that I'm about to tell you, I guarantee you, it's going to put a smile on your face. Also, you know what puts a smile on my face? When I put some money in my pocket and I'm going to be getting my lineup in for the big game. It's kind of crazy that this is the last game of the year, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is literally this Sunday, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season outright with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. If you're wondering, Mitch, who are you rolling with in your lineup? I will be clear. This is still Reed's lineup. I will get you guys a lineup going forward the closer and closer that we get. But what I really want to talk about here is the deal that PrizePicks is hooking you up with. Drake May, 0.5 pass yards. If you're getting started on PrizePicks, I mean this with all due respect, you're a dummy if you don't take that Drake May 0.5 passing yards. If you want to go more with Sam Darnold, Kenneth Walker, JSN, anybody on that Clint Kubiak offense, freaking roll with it. And I'm telling you this, I will do my own version of a Kubiak stack, which means I'm going to pick some player up to 3 times, and I'm going to roll with the Seahawks offense in the big game. So download the PrizePicks app today. Make sure that you use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. So let's now talk about the other good news here for the Raiders. And some people will say, well, Mitch, this is good news for everybody. It is good news for everybody. But my point of the NFL salary cap increasing, my point is I actually think it's better for the Raiders because timing is everything, more so than other NFL teams. So the 2026 cap, it's now expected to be between $301.2 million and $305.7. That's an increase of about 7.8% to about 9.49%, which gives the Raiders more money to go out and spend. And what's crazy is I've been covering the NFL for quite some time. I really started doing my podcast up in my attic in 2016 when the salary cap was 155.27. I mean, hell, in the years that I've been covering the Raiders report really heavily, I'm going to go back and look at probably 2018 when it was 177.2 million. Well, guess what? We are now clipsing over $300 million. More money for players, more money for everybody, and it's because of the eyeballs. I get it. Football is their job. But the reason why players are getting paid what they're getting paid is because it's an entertainment. And there's a lot of people watching and a lot of eyeballs out there. So for the Raiders, as it stands right now, your top 2 money according to Over the Cap, top 2 money according to Spotrac, the Raiders are the only team in the NFL with top 3 money in cap space in 2026 and 2027. But because the Raiders are planning to be aggressive this offseason, when you have more money, and again, everybody's getting that salary cap increase. But because the Raiders have more money, the way that I would compare it is this. Like, think about if you're sitting at home, right? Think about your bank account. There's some days where I bet when that new paycheck comes in, you feel like, all right, I can go spend out on things that I want. There's going to be some teams that with that salary cap increase got to spend on needs. Don't get me wrong. We got plenty of needs, and we're going to talk about them. But I think because the Raiders already have a lot of money, they're going to be able to handle their needs. And I also think that they're going to be able to handle their wants a little bit easier than some other teams that really can only handle their needs. So coming up, this is why this news helps the Raiders more than other teams. If you don't know, though, this Friday, it's crazy to me. This Friday, Jeremy Chuggs and I, San Jose, California. Friday, February 6th, 7 to 10 p.m. I talked to the owner last night of Fairway Zone Sports Bar and Lounge. You cannot call anymore to reserve your spot. We are fully booked up in terms of spot reservations, but he told me this. They got a giant parking lot. They got a giant outdoor space. Even if you can't make your resi, still pull up, still show up, because we're going to be partying all night long. If you want to meet our Seahawks and Patriots guy, they're going to be there. You want to meet Chase Sr., you want to meet Sam Brown? F. Sam, going to be there. And obviously, I want you to come pull up, hang out with me and Jeremy Chuggs. There's going to be beers. There's going to be prizes, I heard. Going to be some food. Definitely going to have to be some food. I was told there's going to be a longest drive competition for some prizes because this place does have golf simulators. So if you're a golf fan, I'm not going to bring my own clubs. But if you want to win some prizes, don't be afraid to bring your clubs. It's going to be a hell of a time. So this is why this helps the Raiders out a little bit more. The Silver and Black are going to be aggressive. And when you have a new head coach in Clint Kubiak, you move on from Pete Carroll. You can't sit around like you did last year. Let's face the facts. They sat around way too much. I think they just bet on the fact that Pete was going to be good enough to get them over the hump. And in fact, he was reserved, and he was not even close to being good enough to get them over the hump. Many holes to fill. Holy shit, man. Bonus points if anybody knows who that is. And we do, man. We got a lot of holes to fill on offense. A lot of holes to fill on defense. I can't get over that. Shout out to Chuggs. But because we have so many needs, like quarterbacks in need, running backs in need, wide receivers in need, third tight ends in need, offensive lines in need, defensive tackle, defensive end, linebacker, cornerback, safety, like special teams. You can't look at me and say that this team doesn't have needs. So because we are getting that extra money, it's going to pay off in the long run because not only do you need to be able to sign plenty of free agents, you also need to be able to have money for your 10 total draft picks. And one of those picks is obviously going to be number 1 overall pick Fernando Mendoza. A lot of times we don't think about salary cap for the draftees, but you have to be able to set aside a certain amount of money. I'm going to say it's probably in the $15 to $20 million range to make sure that you're able to pay all of your draft picks, your UDFAs, the amount of money that you need to do. So that little bit of a salary cap increase, I'm telling you, it will pay off in the long run. And then the final reason is 2026 is the biggest offseason for the Raiders. It is. You're going to get a new head coach. You're going to get your franchise quarterback. You have to be able to get this thing going in the right direction. You're not firing guys left and right the way that we've been over the past few seasons. So because the salary cap is increasing, I do really believe in my heart of hearts that this helps out the Raiders more than other NFL teams because of the situation that the Raiders are in right now. Speaking of situations, if anybody wants an awesome situation later on today, we're going to be live on the Raiders Report, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. I do have a hard cutoff time at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I can only give you guys 2.5 hours. I wish I could give my wife 2.5 hours. No, but the reason why I am, today is actually the day where Alex and we had our very first date, February 3rd, 2018. It's pretty crazy. So we're going to go out for dinner. We're going to go celebrate in our own right, and I know that you guys understand that I'm saying it at the end of the video because I know my real ones are always watching. But if you want to party, you want to hang out with Chuggs and I a little bit later on, subscribe, noties. I'll see you guys 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific here on the Raiders Report.